Hello, and welcome to the HBTV podcast where we talk about all things Harry Potter on HBO, Paramount. Oh, we'll get to it. I'm Mitchell here along with my siblings, Stephen and Jamie. Today we're going to be talking about a deep dive into Gringotts, which is our place of the day. But first, there is so much news or trickles of news that feel like a lot. And then there's some fun rumors we're going to chat through. You can give us a follow at HBTV Pod on your socials or email us at hbtvpodcast@gmail.com. And this episode is brought to you by Gringotts. All right. I couldn't come up with a better sponsor than that.
Jimmy's Young's. I think it should be Paramount.
I know. All right. Well, let's dive in. The first piece of news, Netflix withdrew from negotiations. They had the preferred bid, and then Paramount came in, kind of a hostile takeover. They kind of went directly to the shareholders of Warner Brothers and were like, we're going to pay you $31 a share, which ended up being billions more than Netflix. In fact, Netflix gets $8 billion in breakup fees. And so Paramount, which owns Paramount Plus, CBS, they own Nickelodeon, MTV. And so essentially, if you think about this in streaming service language, HBO Max and Paramount Plus are going to be one. In fact, they've already said that, yes, we are going to merge the streaming services, which the real sad thing here is Hollywood, is the jobs, because there's so many common jobs. These companies for big conglomerates are fairly similar, but they both have giant lots. Now, they said they're going to release 30 movies annually in theaters. So that means maybe they won't sell one of the lots, but you have two old Hollywood lots that are going. But streaming service wise, when you think of you as a consumer, you're paying, okay, I'm paying $10 a month for Paramount, paying $15 a month for HBO Max. They're going to combine, I don't know what it's going to be called because they want to keep that HBO vibe, but they also need to shout out the rest of the content. It's going to be something like HBO, Warner, Max, Paramount. Anyway, what did you guys think?
That was a good one.
That was not a Mitchell original, but I did put it in the notes and I feel good about it. But it just means Harry Potter is going to be, I don't think this is trouble for Harry Potter. This is what Harry Potter is, what they wanted out of this. So it's going to be on whatever this new streaming service is.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I don't know if they're going to do it like on Disney Plus right now, where there's technically the Hulu section, but then it's all kind of merged and like whatever it is. I also am like, we were, at the beginning of everything, all these places were like just looking for any content. They were throwing everything up on these platforms. And I'm guessing they're going to cut a lot of fat to not like have too much stuff. So you're going to lose like random little things that are all like niche to us and like, oh, this one random show. And then it kind of just disappears forever because it goes nowhere. So like big losses like that. As far as Harry Potter, it's going to be interesting. I mean, a Paramount is a huge name lot, but it's struggling on its own as well. Like it's not like they kind of do need each other, but if it's mishandled, we could be seeing a new merger in like 5 years.
Well, and the interesting thing is that it wasn't a tech company, because I think a lot of people thought a tech company would, which Netflix has something in common with tech companies as well as traditional studios, because it's not. And they've also said that Warner, Paramount, whatever, is going to continue to license assets out. So like CBS Studios, for example, did Modern Family. So even though it was a Disney ABC run thing, it was actually done by different. So all those studios actually were cross-pollinating. And a big thing was they sub-licensed things to Netflix to try and make some extra cash. But yeah, things will get lost. Like, they did a Rugrats reboot in 2021. It's already off. And I don't know why, because they're not paying traditional residuals, royalties. So, but Netflix did that too. They took a bunch of really recent stuff, and for whatever reason, it was costing them money. Whereas I thought if it's a Netflix original, you can keep it on your service in your deep library forever. But yeah, we're going to lose some things. It's going to be weird. I think Harry Potter's safe. It's going to be the crown jewel, along with DC and Game of Thrones from the Warner perspective that comes into all this.
Well, hopefully.
Well, I think it's just that the industry, it's changing so much, right? The way people consume entertainment, the way that it's produced, the way that it's marketed is also different. So I think the biggest challenge is going to be to like, how do you still keep these brands like with their own identities? Like, how do you keep the HBO stuff, right? And how do you keep, your weird Star Trek spinoffs over here on Paramount Plus, like their own little thing? Because Paramount has had like some of their own, pretty impactful shows that a lot of people know of, but not on the level of HBO. You haven't watched Paramount Plus, Mitchell? There's some really good ones, but I think that's going to be the interesting part, because as they boil it down, you're going to lose more, right? It is weird when you get like the watch this on Hulu on Disney Plus, because it's like baked in there, but at the same time, it's, they do try and keep Hulu as a separate like brand, so you can go here to get this type of content and over here to get a different kind of content.
Well, and
So I think that could work well, but it's going to require a lot of finesse.
it's all going to be about these tiles. Yeah, it's all going to. The thing is,
it's going to go back to like this channel.
It's going to be so expensive, and part of that is sports rights. Netflix doesn't have a ton of sports rights, whereas these companies do. So you're going to have to pay more while this is trying to challenge Disney and them. Now, Disney, again, here, very only recently did they start calling it Hulu. It used to be called Star, but Hulu is a tile on Disney Plus, which is essentially what they're headed towards there. But yeah, Paramount also has all the Taylor Sheridan shows, which are really underrated. Like, old white people love that shiz, and it's huge. Same with like NCIS, like that is all on that old
Where I
CBS
watch my
stuff
ghosts.
too.
UK and American Ghosts.
Yeah, those are on iPlayer here. It's lovely.
I know there's a
Frasier's
UK
on
version.
there.
I'm going to check that out.
Oh,
Cheers is on
that was
there.
the OG
and the reboot of Frasier.
And the reboot of Frasier.
No one's watching that but you.
Well, it did get canceled after 2 seasons, but
it feels like.
But that's the thing too. That I mean, I'm not scared about Harry Potter, but it's a lot. Paramount has been a lot like Mitchell said with these like original shows. They give them like barely a chance to remember. They like, I mean, and it's like iCarly. They tried to do a reboot of a few other things, and it's like if they don't hit right away, they pull them, and so you don't get that like 22 episode chance to pick people up along the way.
Now, Paramount was just bought last year, and that was another saga. And so the guy who bought him was Larry Ellison or David Ellison. I can't remember who's the dad and who's the son, but he owns Oracle. He's one of the richest men in the world. So maybe they'll start to put their cash behind something. Anyway, we've dwelled on this. It's kind of an inside industry thing, but it does affect Harry Potter quite a lot.
Well, I mean, Harry Potter's one of the tentpole brands or WB, right? You've got Harry Potter, you've got DC, you've got your Game of Thrones. Like, those are the big ones. So you know that that's what's going to stick around and they're going to invest in it. It just has to perform so they don't, it doesn't get lost amongst all the other crap that they're producing. Because 30 movies a year is a lot. And I don't even want to guess how many streaming shows they're going to be trying to put out then between the two studios and this mega, streaming service they're going to have.
I've been watching some flipping shows, which I never used to be into on, and like I love house hunters and flipping shows, and now they're merging them. So they house hunt and then they flip and then they remodel what they found.
Fixer Upper did that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they remodel the one house they're in and they look for another one and figure out which one's better.
Yeah.
And then what's that one? Love It or Leave It? It's a good. My dentist office always has that one.
They have this one is called Beachfront Bargain Hunt Renovations. Seriously, it's a real show. Okay, I digress, but there's a lot of content there.
I thought there was a point there. I thought we were going to.
Well, it is
Harry
the fact
Potter
that it's
will
like
be
3 shows in one. Yeah.
That'll be Harry
Actually,
Potter
they
on
probably
the
will
beach
make a Harry Potter fixer. I'm going to make your house into the burrow.
Oh, I'd love that.
I could go for that.
I could use some more storage space. All right, let's move on. There's lots of little news tidbits here. It's the 25th anniversary celebration of the Sorcerer's Stone, and at the studio tour, they're putting new props on display. They're doing a mini little show called The Secrets of Sound Effects, and then they're doing a new activity passport, and they're doing putting the Quidditch rig on display. And their big thing is they're going to show different elements from like the things you do before you get to the Sorcerer's Stone. So lots of new stuff. I can't imagine they do amazing with return business. So I always am curious about what they're reinfusing into the studio tour. Come visit. I will take you there. I won't pay, but I'll guide you on the train. But does that make it any more enticing to you?
Well, always, I want to go. But no, I think the other one was the WB World in Abu Dhabi getting Harry Potter Land or, whatever version of it. But what I read said they're getting a full-size Hogwarts and Diagon Alley. That would be massive and awesome. So we need to go. Let's do it on location episode, guys.
And this is technically being done with Mural, and that is the same company that kind of does everything on Yaz Island, which is an artificial island off of Abu Dhabi that has, so WB World's been there forever, and I've seen some blogs of it. It's a pretty much entirely indoor park. So I'm like, what does full-size Hogwarts mean? Because I've been saying we need a hotel or like even a Disney-size castle of Hogwarts. Why not? And you know what? There's unlimited money. So I hope they do it, and I will visit it because they're also opening a Disney park down there. So family reunion, mom and dad's 60th anniversary. We're going to Abu Dhabi. Hopefully by then, the airspace there is a little bit safer. All right. But yeah, they're gonna get Hogwarts Diagon Alley. It's wild, and it's been reported by Forbes, and like I think I don't know whatever version of permits. Like there has been something filed, but nobody has said anything from Warner Brothers as far as I know. Cillian Murphy has shut down any Voldemort rumors, which have been floating around forever, but he kind of said that is absolutely not happening. Which I love him, but it's fine. I didn't think that was a need.
He would have been awesome, but I mean, there are other people who can be awesome at it, I guess.
And then the actress who plays Cho Chang, Katie Luang, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. She recently popped up in Bridgerton, so she's been doing popped up. It's a major role. I've already binged both parts of Bridgerton season 4. But she has a pretty major role, essentially as the evil stepmother from Cinderella in that season of Bridgerton. And so because she's been in the press, she's been getting asked about the new show, and she may be giving the most generic PR answer of all time. That's like, I hope they have fun and don't get overwhelmed and blah, 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 blah. I mean, she's obviously not as big of a part, and her whoever plays Cho Chang won't be cast. But I think in the past, she's always been like, not oversensitive about the character being named Cho Chang, which it seems just in the last few years, people are like, oh, J.K. Rowling couldn't come up with a more original, less Asian sounding name for an Asian character. And there was debate about that. And I think she's always been pretty positive about the role, but she hasn't obviously done a ton of, big acting since then. So nice of her.
I liked what she said too, because, she talked a little bit about being thrown into that, I think when she was 16, and she's like, it was a lot to be like thrown into because the series, had already been going. And so it was already this huge thing. And they asked her if she would reach out to whoever the new Cho Chang was. And she's like, if they wanted me to, I would. I kind of like, she's like, I kind of respect that if they want to do their own thing or, whatever. I think the girl probably had like 3 lines in the movie,
12.
so
I mean, it's a big deal. She's Harry's only ever, her and Ginny are the only 2. So, I mean, but she did not have a big part in the movies.
And hopefully we hear from all these characters
legacy to pass on.
Have you guys heard of these books called the Pocket Potters? I feel like I should have, but I haven't.
We talked about them when we talked about the stuff coming out this year for the anniversary. We did we did a quick little thing about a couple new ones that were about to come out, and now 2 more new ones are coming out, right?
Right. Luna and Dumbledore are each getting their own little Pocket Potter book, which is fun. There's been some casting announced. This is just the trickling again of little bit parts. We know season 1 is well underway, if not mostly principally shot. Lewis Shelton is going to be Ron in the Mirror of Erised, so we know we're going to get Ron seeing his future where he is the Quidditch captain and everything. The hotel manager is going to be played by Neil Edmond. That's just before they go on the rock. Hi, Tommy. Welcome to the HPTV podcast. Let me finish this one little bit, and we're going to skip to your section. And then Naomi Werthner is going to play Madame Malkin. So we're going to get the little tension robe scene between Harry and Draco. So just a few more castings trickling in as that stuff kind of rounds out and we start to hear more about book 2 and what's going to be in that season. Hi, Tommy.
Hi,
Liam.
Hi.
Liam, you can tell us what you think about Harry Potter?
Has Liam started Harry Potter?
No,
Liam?
no.
I can read it to you.
And if you don't read it, you'll have absolutely no idea about every single thing we talk about.
What are you watching these days, Tommy? What is your favorite television program at this very moment? And what streaming service is it on?
Phineas and Ferb.
Very catchy theme song.
But you guys been watching a lot of that. What's that other show? Rob.
Oh yeah, Mark Rober.
Mark Rober. He's got he's the thing on Netflix now. I think they just took a lot of his YouTube content and put his episodes on Netflix, but the boys have been a little obsessed with him and all that.
I think he's producing something original for Netflix soon too. And he went to BYU, didn't he?
Yep. And I went to NASA
That's
and
where
went to YouTube.
I think we should stay on top.
We go all over. We meander through topics.
All right, Tommy. Harry Potter. What do you know about Gringotts Bank?
It's definitely not.
That's our sub.
It's definitely not green.
It's no.
It's not.
That is true.
It's white. What do you remember though? Which books do we see Gringotts in? Do you remember which books we see it in?
I think we see some of it in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we see much of it in second, do we?
I mean, we mentioned that they go there, but I don't think that we spend any time there really.
Was it the 6th or 7th book?
I see what you did there. It's the 7th book is when they go in and they try and rob it. Would you try and steal gold from Gringotts?
If I wouldn't end up dying, then yes, probably.
I mean, there's a dragon that tries to cook you, so I would not recommend it.
I'd be murdered 3 seconds in. If I even
Importantly,
survived
there's those vaults where if you touch it and you're not a goblin, you get stuck in there, and they only check them every 10 years. So caution. Have you been on the Gringotts roller coaster in Universal?
No. We haven't been to Universal in a while, have we?
Yeah, I kind of remember myself the last couple times.
How rude!
But I don't think you were tall enough last time we went, but you're tall enough now. We'll have to go do that.
Now you have something to look forward to when you're there because you're tall enough, and it's not a very extreme one either. It's very fun though. I won't spoil anything else, but yeah, Gringotts is where you get your gold. Where is Gringotts again? Do you remember?
In Universal, obviously.
Well, but in the Harry Potter universe.
In the Wizarding
in Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley.
Yes.
I think it's at the end of a path.
It is.
I mean, it is in Universal.
I got that from the Harry Potter Lego video game.
Yes.
That's
loves Harry Potter Lego videos.
I've heard it's good.
What do you do in Gringotts on the video game?
There's some levels where you get to like build things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically an escape room, but with the walls are stone.
Well, broadly in Harry Potter, Tommy, what is your favorite book?
Ooh, my favorite book.
And is it different from your favorite movie?
I don't really watch the movies too much.
Good.
I hear they're very different from the books.
You've seen some
They're
of them.
inaccurate.
I've seen some of them.
But you weren't.
All right, book. What's your favorite book?
And right now I'm debating between book 7 and book 2.
Book 2? Why book 2? What do you like about that one?
I like the part with the basilisk.
Oh, okay.
Grr.
You like big snakes? Yay.
Who's your favorite Harry Potter character?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Dobby.
Dobby is a good one.
Dobby!
He is a free elf.
Were you really sad in book 7 when,
I knew, like, the way his character was based, I knew that he was one of those offhand characters that was probably going to end up dying at, like, some point in the series. So I wasn't really all that surprised.
What are you reading now, Tommy? I feel like you crushed those Harry Potter books. What have you read lately that you've enjoyed?
The book, or the series I'm reading currently, is called Engineers.
Nice.
Engineers.
Engineers?
I have the book in my back.
Like engineers, but nerds.
But they're nerds?
Yeah.
Is this like a novel, or is it like facts, how to learn about engineering stuff?
It is a book where, I'm not going to spoil too much, but there are some robots involved, and it also does involve the robots shooting brown cubes at more than 90 miles per hour out of the butts. It literally shows it on the cover.
But this is like a story. It's like a novel.
Yes.
Tommy's been reading a lot of like non-fiction books about engineering stuff and like wacky facts and stuff.
Wacky facts?
Wacky.
Oh, you're really embracing the Florida attitude, huh? I see. It's...
Oh, man. All right. So, well, the other thing we're going to talk a little bit about, we get your take before we go into it, is goblins. So, goblins and Gringotts kind of go together. What do you remember about the goblins? They're like warm and cuddly, right?
Nope. Absolutely not.
That's what they like.
Money.
They do like money.
Doesn't everyone like money? I think everyone likes money.
It's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
I need more.
Well, you want to stick around when we go through all of our interesting information about Gringotts and goblins?
You mean everything on that screen right there?
Yep. Do you want to hang out and listen?
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to cover a couple quick bits of news and then we will go into the rumors. So first of all, John Lithgow did a little interview and he talked about how he's wearing high-heeled shoes. His robes are very heavy and he wonders if he's going to be alive for the wrap party.
That's what I said.
Yeah. He is. Voice your concerns, Stephen, which look, he's 80, starting a 10-year project. There could be an issue. There's also a little preview release of Sorcerer's Stone, the immersive version at the Cosm, which is like these small sports bars that are now showing some non-sports stuff where it's like you're in a dome. So it feels like it's all coming to life. It feels like you're there. So I'm very interested to see what that would look like. There's only ones in Dallas and Los Angeles. So
that's supposed to be like the
unfortunately, we can't see
sphere?
them.
I haven't heard of
Yeah, it's kind of like mini spheres.
Okay.
And then the last bit, we all kind of talked about this in our group chat, but there was a really cool behind the scenes video put out about the full cast version of the audiobooks. And I thought, I've enjoyed Goblet of Fire. I've still been slowly getting little snippets of that in, but I love Fully, like that. I love the weird ways that they bring it all together. And even though like there's some things I don't love about those books, I thought that was really cool to see. Was there anything that stood out to you guys from that YouTube video?
It's been so long now. I appreciate like how much work was put into it. And I think it does show like the effort put into it and that people are like acting things out and moving. It's pretty cool how they do all that.
I just think it's cool to see other people love Harry Potter as much as we love Harry Potter. So like all the effort they put in, like Jimmy was saying, right? It wasn't like, hey, have these people read these parts. Like they really planned it out and they did really good casting. So, but it's fun to watch. Everyone should check it out.
On to the rumors. Don't spread rumors, kids, but some of these have come from people who have been right about a couple things, so we'll see. The first one is that the first episode will end with the boat ride to Hogwarts. That means we need to cover anything new they put in, Dumbledore and McGonagall, Harry being miserable, really getting those characters, the whole journey to find the letter, and Harry going to Diagon Alley and then back home. Like, there's a lot to cover in one episode if they're going to end with the boat.
Well, and they said somewhere, right, that they were expecting the episodes to be between 35 and 55 minutes. So, I mean, even on the longer end, that's a lot to cover, especially when you know, like, that they're adding stuff in, right? Some of it comes toward that early part. And so it'll be cool, but I like that they're giving us time in the Muggle world. And I mean, because basically they're going to have the Muggle world, the train ride, and then they get off the train and then that's like onto the boats, right? And so it's going to be mostly Muggle stuff, and it'll be cool to kind of see then I think that contrast as they move into the magical world. It's going to be pretty cool.
I could have done with an episode and a half, All right. Next one, the creative team is focused on making Quidditch more exciting and engaging than the films, because the films, they kind of get samey and messy, and they said expect flying sequences with Joseph Kosinski-style shots. Kosinski, of course, was the director of Top Gun, Maverick, and Formula One. Like, he's really been known for finding innovative ways to make the flying and the sport seem a lot more visually interesting. So that will be fun. Hopefully it looks cooler. I don't know. Quidditch is just not that important to me. And I say that as someone who loves sports.
Oh, I'm excited for Quidditch because the technology just wasn't there the first few movies. And so they were very clunky and it was very much like, I don't know, inserted, or there was, weird computer graphics and stuff where they were trying to substitute, make it look, and it just didn't work. So I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
Tommy, are you slowly realizing how boring podcasts are? Because we just kind of talk about
absolutely
weird Harry Potter things. Okay. That's all right. I thought it would happen. The next rumor, Rob James Collier, who is best known for playing Thomas Barrow in the Downton Abbey series and trilogy of films, was in heavy negotiations for the role of Voldemort. Now, it says last spring, so this could have been something that didn't go forward. But look, I really hated him. He did a good job at being evil, so hopefully he can do a good job at being evil here. Now, we know they wanted a big name, so I wonder if the hesitation with signing him was, let's get a Cillian Murphy, and when Cillian Murphy wouldn't do it, they were like, let's settle for this guy. No offense, bro. I love Downton.
I love Downton. He's gonna make a good Riddle, I think.
He wouldn't get any redemption arc this time,
Voldy.
so I think that would probably be better.
Well, he could play his own dad in the flashbacks and be a nice, terrible muggle. All right, next. Hogwarts Legacy was a strong source of inspiration for many departments. I think that's good just to say, let's give another visual feeling and another yeah, just a whole different vibe to Hogwarts.
Well, I'm excited too because that
Um,
is it tells me there's some consistency. You know what I mean? Because Legacy is specifically didn't depart too far from the movies, and so it's different but not insanely different. Um, so I
It's a good in
yeah
between, I think.
yeah.
Like the book world and the movie world. Like they take elements from the movie, but it's so thought
I
out.
don't have time, and I don't have a gaming system. Well, I do. I have a Switch Lite. I still haven't played it, and I want to, but I'm like, when would I? And now there's rumors that they're going to try and release 2 around the same time to kind of build up this Harry Potter hype. All right, next, a rumor from what's been heard: Dominic's English accent is quite good, with only traces of his Scottish accent occasionally. And Alistair Stout, who is playing Ron, has a strong Northern accent. The Weasleys are not technically supposed to be Northern, but it's not a big deal to me if he does have a Northern accent. We could use a bit more representation for the North.
Because Otter
That's
Weasley
quite a big thing
Catchpole
here.
is that not north? Where is that?
I don't think so.
It's not a real
Let's
place.
do some Googling.
So
Now, there's a big debate on what it means to be in the North.
I honestly never realized that there were different British accents until recently.
But when you think about
my
it,
gosh.
I mean, I do, but
But
I like
I
think
I
about
agree
it,
in the fact
right?
that most
Like, oh,
Americans
that
will
one's
not.
a Liverpool accent and that one's a Manchester accent. Like, you
It's
never
only
really
gonna bother the British
right.
people.
the
The
posh
people of the United
Southerners.
Kingdom are gonna be,
So
but the rest of the world probably be like, oh,
Whatever.
England is kind of flipped in that the
we
North is
gotta-
kind of the North is considered a bit more blue collar and a bit more like they have a stronger accent. Whereas the South is considered a bit more posh. Whereas I think in the States, it's kind of the opposite. The South, you kind of have the Southern accent, and the North, you kind of have the New England, which can, have its own version
But
of
do you have the
hoity
equivalent of a
toity.
Florida man in the north of England? That's the real question.
Oh, there's some weird places, but not as strong. Not as strong.
Hmm.
If
Get out in those
Dominic's
bogs.
Scottish slips through once in a while, look, I'm not too hurt. It is interesting that they thought the best kid would be one who would have to speak in an accent the whole time. Let's see. Papa Essiedu's performance as Snape is said to be spiteful, savage, and intimidating. No wig, but minor facial prosthetics. Maybe a nose or some scars.
So that's interesting, though. But he's
It
not
says
going to have the long hair then?
Yeah. that's what it says.
I'm really curious.
Again, these are
I don't think so.
rumors. HBO. Now, this one, I'm like, is this wishful thinking? HBO is in early negotiations for Kit Harington to join the show in the future, possibly for Lockhart or Sirius Black. They're planning to have it be a big reveal at Comic-Con this summer, hyping up the return of Kit Harington to HBO television. Now, something's wrong here because Kit Harington is on Industry right now. And Kit has also been talking about doing a revival of Thrones. That's kind of been said. It's off, it's on, it's off. Anyway, I think he could play those characters quite well. He's slightly older than we've kind of been asking for the Sirius Lupin, but he can play younger, I think. Anyway, I think he's done a couple weird roles, but overall he's a good enough actor for this.
That does make me wonder who
I
else
could see
from
him as serious.
the full cast audio might actually end up in the movies as a result of like that connection. Like what if we had Keira Knightley actually takes Umbridge? Like that would be pretty cool / hilarious and to see.
She does not look like a frog or a toad.
They
She's
can work
tall
out.
and hot.
They can add facial prosthetics like they're doing to Papa. The only other one I really want is James McAvoy. I would really like him as Mad-Eye Moody in the series. I think that could work.
I do wonder if people are they enjoyed that and now they're more open to that.
They get sucked into the Potter world and they see that it's awesome here.
Yeah. And they may have
It would
gotten
be
less
interesting.
backlash than they thought. Go on.
If he played Lockhart, it wouldn't be. I mean, that one season it would be a time commitment, but then it's not. And
Yeah.
even Sirius, we've talked about
He wouldn't get
He's
enough
way
people.
less
That's
screen time
fun.
than
But still, I mean, still significant, especially in 5. Like he comes and goes. I can't imagine him as Lockhart. That's not at all how I imagine Lockhart, but it would be interesting. I definitely think like the little charming
Wouldn't
faces
work.
he makes and stuff, he could play that up. It spread his range.
Are you staying here now out of resilience when you secretly want to leave and go watch television? Or do your homework like a good young lad?
Curious.
All right. On we go. As JKR's role in the series has decreased after production started, but she still holds calls with Francesca Gardinier, I don't know, and is providing feedback for the scripts on the season. I think that's about what we'd want. I think they're trying to stay loyal to it. Like, she's excited about it, but she never needed to be super heavily involved. We know she likes the control, but I think Warner Brothers is already like having to balance her reputation. So that one is fine, probably. Sure.
And I think that's, I mean, completely normal for a adaptation. But
Have I said any rumors that you guys are think that's probably BS so far?
No.
I mean, they all seem feasible, and most of them are things I want to be true. So I'm inclined to believe them. So
All right. Next up, as book one doesn't have much magic/duels, there will be many scenes added to showcase how this show will display magic on screen, including Lily and James in that leaked footage that we saw. Maybe they're running away from Death Eaters or something. I think there's okay magic in one, but of course the kids aren't good at magic yet. So that would make sense. We already know that they are putting in Nicholas Flamel and Lucius Malfoy. I am wondering if we're just going to see Draco. Like, I think there's some specific moments we might really see at home, but sure. I mean, that one, again, not a stretch.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I just don't want them to like over sensationalize things. Like, I think the subtle magic is supposed to be like what draws you in and what is so magical about it, and like the little things going on in the background and stuff are exciting enough, and then let it build throughout the series until we get like major battles and stuff like
Well,
that.
I think of it like how I think of like Molly cooking in the burrow. You know what I mean? Like setting a pot to stir itself and a knife to cut the bed. Like that's just how she cooks all the time, and it's like second nature. So like those kinds of things just happening in the background and stuff is like part of the awe of entering the magical world. And then you get to add in some of the more exciting fighting and, you know, dueling and all that kind of stuff as the story progresses.
This one would be a little bit, depending how much we're talking about giving the adult screen time, could be extreme. The structure of the show will be broken into two levels. The main story will be the kids, specifically Ron, Harry, and Hermione. The other level is the adult characters, specifically the Hogwarts staff. Both levels will interact, but also have individual storytelling. Expect more drama, emotion, political, social from the teachers. That would be a big deal if we start to see like
Yeah.
what's going
I don't
on at
like
that adult level.
I get like Glee
It's
vibes almost or something, you know what I mean? Like the teacher
Yeah.
drama and then the student drama.
Well,
Maybe we'll
it's
find out who's sleeping with who
who are
amongst the
you?
teachers or something.
I don't mind hints of that stuff that would kind of go over kids' heads, but like I still want it to be like a kid-friendly show. Like, I don't know. Are they playing to millennials and adults more? Are they it kind of just takes you out of Harry again, which I've already kind of complained about. Like,
Yeah.
we're not it feels like
Seeing
we're
the
not with
world
Harry.
through Harry's eyes is quite critical to
I
the
think
shows.
it's complicated too. I think they're overcomplicating if they're doing that.
You know, it kind of
Too
reminds me
much.
of Boy Meets World, where season one was really about Corey. It was more of a family show. And then season two, all of a sudden, you had Jonathan Turner into season three and Eli, and
Then
you
he
had their
disappeared.
dating lives. And then, yeah, don't get me started on that. But it really had like these two levels of show interacting, and they would try to be, it just
And
never.
I like build up to that because, but that's such a big part of the book is Harry maturing and realizing and coming to the place where like adults become more humanized to him because he's growing up and he's seeing that he's idolizing people less and he's realizing like, oh, they're flawed and things like that. Like that should also be happening in the series, but whatever.
Next one, John Lithgow is unrecognizable as Dumbledore. We've seen it. He's
Yeah, no,
not.
it's not true.
He's a force of nature to watch. Let's hope. He has a flawless British accent, completely different from The Crown. That very well possible. He's much more polished and refined, with a slight strain to match the age of his character. Probably just to match his strain of him, because Dumbledore's kind of like meant to be. He is an old man, but he's kind of meant to be ageless. You know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like an old man with a lot of energy. So
I wanted some quirky. Let's hope we get some quirky.
yeah,
That's great.
All right. Next, lots of content on the politics of the wizarding world, including Fudge and the Ministry. The show will explore on depth how this world exists, coexists with the Muggle world. Again, now we're getting into lore and magic systems and how they hide, and how, like, we see that obviously chapter 1 of Half-Blood Prince when he meets the Muggle Prime Minister. If we're going to get more of that, I think involving the politics makes sense. But again, you have to build up to it because it comes such an important thing in book 5 that I guess building up to it a little bit more could be interesting. Obviously in book 4 it's important, but kind of a one-off with Bagman and Crouch. But yeah,
But even book 2, like book 1 draws you in. Book 2, we get a little bit of that with Hagrid, the hippogriff thing and all that kind of stuff, and Dumbledore being taken from the school. Like, let that grow because I don't know. Don't open.
I do wonder though, like I'm
Like,
just thinking about like the world post Voldemort, like that was such a huge event when he like died, right? When Harry was one, and now we're 10 years
yeah,
later. And so I could think there might be this aspect of like the world adjusting to that or something, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's I think there's some interesting things to tell there, some interesting stories to tell there, but I don't know. It could get real hairy.
it is
Not in a
really
good
interesting.
way.
I think it's really interesting to us. I don't think it's interesting to 11-year-olds. So it's like, is this becoming like an adult show that's about a child?
When he become
And do I just
Well,
need
yeah,
to accept that?
yeah. They got to pull at least, even if they're not pulling in the young kids, which they should be because they're contemporaries and they should be looking up to Harry and everything. Like you need that younger generation involved. Crabs and Goyle will be more than Draco's bodyguards and will have more speaking lines. I mean, they're kind of supposed to
Good
be
for you.
one-dimensional characters. You know what else I'm thinking is if they have all this adult stuff, are they going to create new things that need to pay off in later books that we don't have time for? Because the story we
Yeah,
already have is going to take all that time.
that's what I was going to say. You better map this crap out. It better be tight. So there better be someone who's mapping, like if they're kind of like adding rules to the world or they're like expanding on things we do learn throughout the books, someone better have that written down so it makes sense. Because even in the book, there's plot holes. But also with the point of Crab and Goyle, I don't mind them being expanded as characters. That's where we should be spending this extra time is expand the children.
We gotta get us some more
Like
Cho
give them
Chang.
more personality, more
Give
character.
her more than 5
Yeah.
lines.
More
Let's learn more about
memes.
her.
Maybe Cho and Crab.
Yeah, no.
That's
Crabs.
end game.
The visual tone of the show will be completely different. The closest film would be The Goblet of Fire, which some people really don't like. It's a different energy. It is a brighter, I don't know. I think that is
I don't know
a
about that.
little bit of a negatively viewed film when it comes to some of
Yeah,
the big
It's like
stuff.
3, like it
It's,
sticks out. It's
over
different from a
designed.
lot of the others. And like the long hair, that's what I remember most about them.
That's all I think about. I think about the hair and the disheveled clothing all the time, like how much effort was into being like, we're 90s kids. Like, and it was just like so random. Like, your tie's too short. That's
It doesn't say anything about the hair. All right. They are currently casting for a young Harry and Dudley. I'm going to try and finish through these really quickly, unless they're really important. They're currently casting for a young Harry and Dudley, probably for flashback scenes and photos. Then the series will explore more serious tones of a story. An example being the loss of Harry's parents and the abuse of the Dursleys. So there will be more emotion in this one season than the entire film series. Let's not make it sad.
That's setting the bar a little high too, though, making it, more than the whole film series. There were some feels in, Deathly Hallows Part 1.
I don't like
this-
that one either. I'm
This
not
is-
liking this.
A huge animatronic was ordered, very impressive in detail and capabilities, most likely for Fluffy. Look, good. Thanks for joining us, Thomas. I don't
I'm all
hate
for
this.
practical.
I'm for practical, but I'm also like, just do better CGI because the dog needs to. I guess if it's dark and it doesn't move that much, but like I don't want it to be limited. I don't know.
What am I worried?
Well, maybe they're doing like a mix of both,
There's
like
not
so the
that
kids
much
can interact
screen
with it.
time for Fluffy either, though. Like, so they're gonna get this huge
He said
animatronic
2 scenes.
get a total of like 2 minutes at most of this.
Well, as far as we know, we're gonna see freaking what's his name, Quirrell, going down and everything because apparently they're showing everything. So
Maybe it's going to be repurposable. All right. Last rumor. Wands and broomsticks will be more personalized and diverse with many names and variations. I kind of get more names of broomsticks because we only hear of like 5 or 6 and predominantly like, obviously Firebolt, Nimbus, Clean Sweep, Shooting Star, Silver Arrow is one of them, I think. Anyway, so I kind of get there being more brand, but I'm like, do you actually need Comet 260? Do you need that many more?
and I don't even know if that's like a thing, like they're just doing that, but you don't necessarily hear about that on
Also,
screen.
they're probably just redesigning the wands, so we have to buy them again. Those.
Oh,
course.
100,000%. And Jamie will. If
Be
it's
like
good.
$150.
But it's slowly starting to piss me off.
I feel like we started this podcast like to explore things like news and rumors, and that ended up being the first substantial. Like, I know it's been a couple weeks, but like where we had enough
Good download.
to talk about.
Yeah,
I felt like it went on,
because
but I'm like, that is what we, envisioned is getting to talk
we
about this
haven't
stuff.
got any
Yeah.
info for like a good 6 months now.
Well, what I noticed in studying Gringotts is that there's not maybe as much to it as I thought. I think it's something that has opportunity to have fun magical stuff behind it. I didn't look into goblins that much, so any thoughts you guys can bring? Gringotts Wizarding Bank was the only wizarding bank in Great Britain and was owned and operated by goblins. It was founded by a goblin named Gringott in 1474. Its main offices were located around the north side of Diagon Alley in London.
I did not know it was named
Dun, dun, dun.
after a goblin, though. That's interesting. That's the first fascinating tidbit. So looking at in the story, right, key events. So Harry first goes to Gringotts in 1991, which is when Harry takes him to his vault, which is where he gets his money. And they also get the Philosopher's Stone from Vault 713, which is important because that's the same day that Vault 713 gets broken into. And so we know now that was Quirrell / Voldemort stealing the Philosopher's Stone.
Quirrellmort.
Yeah, there we go. Voldemort. And but the vault was already empty, so that was a big fail on their part. I am curious though about maybe that's something we get to see early in the season is how they break into Gringotts, because it's not easy to do. So I mean, I guess if you're Voldemort, but he was like, a sad little thing attached to Quirrell at that point. But I digress. The other parts where we spend a good amount of time in Gringotts is the heist when Harry, Ron, and Hermione break into Gringotts and steal Hufflepuff's cup, and they escape on a dragon, which is like super badass. And they fly a Ukrainian iron belly dragon that guards the lower vaults. And then the bank is noted for its high security. So the Thief's Downfall is a spell which removes disguises, which they come in Apologies Potion, and that doesn't last very long. The Gemino Curse, which multiplies objects. There's the Flagrenti Curse, I think, which makes the objects really hot. So that's something that was missed in the movies that annoyed me, was that they didn't get burned or anything. They just had stuff multiplying. And then, of course, dragons guarding the vaults, which is also pretty dang cool.
I did look up where the name Gringott comes from as far as that fact, and it says in the Prisoner of Azkaban video game, it was a chocolate frog card. So I don't know how verified that is, but I'm running with it. Why else would it be called Gringotts? It sounds right.
It sounds like it.
Because when you read the Gringotts Wikia page, there is so much like, here's this thing we learned because a guy did it in this mobile video game no one ever played. Like, I don't know. So I'm trying to focus on canon, but you do have to think there's a lot of depth to this place that's supposed to be massive and this mysterious, because we know a lot of wizarding history is about goblin wars, and goblins resent wizards in a lot of ways and have their own magic. So Gringotts is kind of the thing that brings those people together. And I think it's said at times the ministry and the goblins have struggled over control. So anyway, worth talking about. But besides goblins, there are some wizards who work at Gringotts, including curse breakers. What does that mean?
So we know that Bill's a curse breaker, and we hear about it when Harry gets the pamphlet of different careers in his 5th year. And then the pamphlet says, "Are you seeking a challenging career involving travel, adventure, and substantial danger-related treasure bonuses? Then consider a position with Gringotts Wizarding Bank, who are currently recruiting curse breakers for thrilling opportunities abroad." And so curse breaker is a title used by witches and wizards who removed, countered, or broke curses placed on objects or places for a living.
So I'm really curious about this, because as a curse breaker, like, what's the point? Like, it's a bank. So banks are where people put their money, or in this case, sometimes treasure that they already have, and the bank holds it for them. So is the bank sending curse breakers out to like find lost treasure protected by curses? And then what do they do with the money? They keep it? Or is this like a service they provide? Be like, hey, if you inherited a pyramid full of gold that you can't get to because of a curse, we'll have our curse breakers come break it for you, or break into it for a fee. You know what I mean? But like, I always thought that was kind of weird. Like, if Bill breaks curses for Gringotts, but like, then what? Does it mean you just get at the gold and the bank keeps it? And does he ever slip a little something in his pocket? Because, I don't think he probably...
I think it's just a service they provide and you pay for it.
Maybe.
I do think there would be a big issue with people cursing valuable things, though, so that no one else could have them. And then if they die, what do you...
Well, like, it's funny because it actually kind of relates to what Mr. Weasley does, because he looks into Muggle artifacts that have been cursed. But I wonder if they act as some sort of treasury. And yeah, this is to acquire valuables for Gringotts. But it is an interesting thing that doesn't get explained. And it also makes me think these are kind of the Indiana Joneses of the wizarding world, or the I don't know. What's the word? Like the archaeologists, to some degree.
I like that though. They should give
Maybe
Bill's character to show like a real Indiana Jones vibe. I wonder if he could like port the fedora and stuff.
this is the spinoff we've not been thinking of. Curse Breakers miniseries. I'm in. I'm calling Paramax right now.
I'm here right now. Curse Breakers.
Gringotts Dragon is a Ukrainian iron belly, was used to guard several high security vaults. Are there more than one dragon? Do you remember, doesn't Harry think he sees like a bit of fire around the corner one time? Of course, they break it out. It is kind of sad though, because this dragon has been trained to expect pain when he hears these clankers. And so it's kind of a really sad, lonely life. He's also blind. So it's actually pretty bad. Yeah. And,
well, and it's also like, we'll talk a little bit about the goblins and like the Goblin Rebellion and everything, but it's just interesting that they're fighting against being treated lesser because they are different to wizards and, humans, but yet they have no problem treating a creature the way they do. And they're just like, well, that's how it is.
It also makes me wonder, once they fly that dragon out to that lake or whatever, like what happens? If the dragon's really like mostly blind and it's just been in a cave and abused its whole life, like what happens to that dragon? Does it go wild and just eat all the people?
I'm sure.
I feel like there's a whole other side story there we could get.
And it was guarding a very old vault. We talk about this. The lower you go, the more valuable the vaults are. The older the wizarding family is that was able to afford that and has all this treasure to protect. We do see Harry go through the thief's downfall with the water that takes off any enchantments. I think it said there are definitely trolls. There are keys, plain old keys. Remember Vault 713 where the Sorcerer's Stone is just needs a key? Harry's just needs a key. Oh, no. Harry's needs a key. 713 needs the finger down the door. And then there's one at the end where they need the palm of the goblins, some complex magic. And I think somewhere it said in the future, sphinxes were going to be used. We saw a sphinx, of course, in the maze. And then a probity probe. What is a probity probe?
Probity probe is a weird name. It's a type of dark detector that looked like a golden car antenna and was waved in front of a person in order to detect concealment, spells, or hidden magical objects. So it's like before you probably would go down to your vaults.
I was going to ask about the sphinxes. So does that mean that, like, you have a key for these kinds of vaults, the goblin's hand for those kinds of vaults, and then you got to answer a riddle to get into your other vaults? Like Ravenclaw Tower?
But maybe it's like if Bellatrix used a sphinx, she set the riddle, or the sphinx agreed on a riddle with her, and she has to tell her kids the answer if they want to get in.
Would need a curse breaker.
It's a good idea. That's true. It doesn't seem like the most safe because Harry Potter was 14 when he got past the Sphinx. But the critical thing here is the goblins, and we know the goblins are like a big part of this story. So what did you guys learn about? I wrote the note, the touch of a goblin. But what did you guys learn about goblins?
I remember the first time a goblin touched me. It was magical. No, so
he almost went a whole episode. But Tommy left.
Sorry, Mom.
But so Bill Weasley says, and I believe this comes from book 7 from Deathly Hallows, we're talking about a different breed of being. Dealings between wizards and goblins have been fraught for centuries. There's been fault on both sides. I would never claim that wizards have been innocent. However, there's a belief among some goblins, and those of Gringotts are perhaps most prone to it, that wizards cannot be trusted in matters of gold and treasure, that they have no respect for goblin ownership. So there's some very interesting dynamics we learn between the goblins and the wizards. And it's interesting that like the crux of that seems to be treasure and ownership of things. And yet that's exactly where they intersect the most with the goblins running the bank that all the wizards use. I find it pretty fascinating.
Well, and I also think it's like they treat them lesser because they're not wizards. And also we learn throughout the series that wizards do that to have more control over magic, because goblins don't need wands. They can use magic like house elves. And so that's also what has led to a lot of the goblin rebellions and things like that, is goblins fighting for the rights. So, them being given control over Gringotts and money and stuff is kind of just like putting them in a place, I guess, for the
I think
wizards.
That's actually something that the Fantastic Beasts films do well, is they show the wizard's relationship to the muggles and how it's kind of out of fear, but it's also kind of out of control and this, the way that wizards view muggles is just like a stepping stone to the way they view goblins and house elves, literal like slaves who enjoy slavery. And I think that's actually, it's a lot of questions that get at, and of course the books do, and the stories do kind of answer them. And we know there's more to this goblin like situation than ever. And it's the goblin rebellions are kind of mentioned as a throwaway thing, like, oh, you got to know those for your history of magic OWLs, but we don't really learn that much about them.
Well, we don't. The kids had to be
Did-
tested though, so they learned some other stuff that we just don't.
Well, what do we know about goblin rebellions? There's been a series of uprisings by the goblins because they've been treated as inferior by wizards. One early in 1612 took place near Hogsmeade. A major rebellion in 1752 destabilized the ministry so badly that 2 ministers for magic resigned before the crisis was brutally suppressed. That conflict led to 1752 Goblin Accords. And another 18th century uprising featured a goblin named Berg the Unclean. I'm Jamie the Clean. Memorable enough to later earn a chocolate frog card. The last known rebellion occurred in 1890, led by Ranrock, who attempted to harness ancient magic to give goblins an advantage over wizard kind before ultimately being defeated. So we hear about it as a major subject in the books in Hogwarts history of magic curriculum. And we hear about when Harry's taking his OWL. And so the kids have to learn a lot about it. But it's still interesting, as like Hermione kind of points out and is a great underlining theme, is that like, of course the house elves are happy where they are because it's a better situation, and the goblins are just accepting their fate for what is. But it is kind of sad, but it's also complicated because the goblins, like Bill mentioned, are very complicated beings who see the world and see money and things that they've made very differently than how the wizard functions or humans function.
Yeah, we kind of left out the key to how they view things differently, is that an object belongs to its maker, especially it seems something like art, weaponry, something where goblins have used their magic to make it special. Like we know goblin made swords can't be imbued with the blood of whatever can kill a Horcrux or whatever. So they feel when the wizard dies, they sold it to great Granny Weasley. When she dies, she needs to return the item. So when she bought it from the salesperson, it was just for her lifetime. Whereas wizards, of course, as like we view things as heirlooms. And I think there might be something about that with dwarves who do all the mining in Lord of the Rings. Like it's not that exact same, but there's like they view property and they view things differently from humans and elves, and humans and elves even in that story view things differently. I think it's
a whole relationship issue with elves.
Yeah,
cause more problems.
It is a good way for the different beings to kind of interact. All right, last thing on Gringotts. You can visit Gringotts in real life, both at the Harry Potter Studio Tour, which is a full-size set, and, of course, the queue for the Harry Potter theme park ride, which is in Diagon Alley at Universal Studios, Florida. It is one of a kind, whereas Hogwarts has been replicated in 3 or 4 different parks at least around the world. This is one of a kind. It may end up in Abu Dhabi, but it's the only ride in that Diagon Alley section, which is one of the most immersive, fun areas you could ever be in. And I think they need to add a second ride. I digress. But it is a 3D multi-sensorial indoor steel roller coaster. And it has physical set pieces. It has screens that kind of are 3-dimensional and they're going to make you feel like you're there. And it is technically like a roller coaster track. I wish it had about 40% more roller coaster. It is a little bit on the short side.
Interesting though, because it like you get your roller coaster piece and it stops. It's almost like a dark ride. You get really cool projection and show and stuff, and then it goes back into roller. So it's a cool mix, but it would be funner if it was a little bit more roller coaster.
I think
the queue is really cool.
The queue is the strongest point, is that you are in the main lobby and there are goblins on either side all down the hall, and then you get to go down the stairs, and that is themed. You see Bill's office. Bill is in the pre-show, which is also kind of like a 3D interaction you have in his office. The elevator is really cool. It makes you feel like you're really going down in an elevator with the screens all around you, make you feel like you're in this caged elevator going down. And then, of course, the ride itself is the cart that Harry and Hagrid take, for example, and then they take again in 7. But I'm like, ooh, I know they have to make them somewhat family friendly. They're not trying to make these extreme coasters, but I just thought there could have been more coastery, but limited space. It's an indoor ride, which makes it tough for a roller coaster. It is fun, but again, when this opened, I think it was rave reviews, and it is a great mixture of thrill and mixed media and everything. But I think for something that's supposed to be one of the great attractions, it was missing just a little bit for me. Like, I won't wait more than 45 minutes for this.
What is nice about it is that it has a lower height minimum than the other two rides, Hagrid's and Forbidden Journey. So it is nice so kids can ride it a little sooner. But I think they probably did that on purpose because people probably are like, the only thing kids under like a certain height could ride was the hippogriff, which is painful for the adults to ride. Your knees are
Very lame.
Yeah. The queue is really cool, though. Although apparently they've replaced some of the texturing, the marble texturing on some of the pillars, and it looks really fake and mismatched these days. It's little things. But obviously, if you're walking for the first time, it's the scale. And now Epic Universe has taken that to another level with the Mystery of Magic, where you're walking in and it feels so. It is massive, and so the Gringotts really was. I mean, it is full scale. Like that is the size of it. Whereas Hogwarts is definitely like forced perspective from the outside, and then you're going through some hallways, but none of them are maybe true to size in comparison.
Do you think it will look different in the show? A lot different, or do you think?
I hope they tweak it. I think everything should be tweaked.
Do you think the goblins will look different?
I don't think they can make them too different. They do still have to be. They still described in the books, but
yeah,
there's some room.
How humanoid do you make them? Yeah.
Well, and like the way they're dressed and stuff. I don't know if you guys remember, like a few years ago, Jon Stewart made like a statement, kind of criticizing the goblins in Harry Potter. I don't know if he was talking about the books or the movies, but being a play on like Jewish people, and that he found it a little anti-Semitic.
Well, because
and so I do wonder if they'll change their dress and stuff.
Do anything to differentiate, but at the same time, they are known to have, and goblins in general in lore have, like they go from anywhere from orc to hobgoblin to these goblins, which are much more humanoid. They're known for having big pointy noses, and then just because they handle the money and because they counteract the culture of wizards and how they handle money. Like, I don't know if Jon Stewart's the one who spearheaded that, but definitely it's something that, again, with the Cho Chang thing, it seemed once J.K. Rowling pissed everyone off, and then people found anything within the book. And obviously, if a Jewish person read that, like saw that at any point and felt like, ooh, there might be some underlying connections here, I think that is perfectly valid. I don't think that's where Joe was going with it, but that's easy for me to say.
Well, and he did clarify eventually and kind of said that he doesn't think she directly did it or she was directly playing off the stereotype, but that's just built into our culture, and so that it just kind of happened.
So
but also, us as the descendants of Jewish people, why didn't we become more money minded? So maybe the stereotype doesn't.
We got none of the positive or negative stereotypes of Jewish people at all. We really let grandma down there. But if they can differentiate it maybe in any way to make it more sense, like more of that. Because at one point she was asked if there are any characters, and she said Anthony Goldstein. And then don't we later, he could be related to Queenie. Isn't Queenie's last name Goldstein in the...
Yeah, Queenie and Teenie.
So we're Queenie and Teenie Jewish?
Her name was Tina.
But it needs to be Teenie because her sister is Queenie. Like, come on, Queenie and Teenie.
We did this when we watched those 3 movies, and I just ran with it when you said that. That's funny. All right. Wow. Well, again, we had news to have joyful times. We had rumors. You know what? I like those rumors because they're actually, some of them are so realistic and to a point where they could be right or wrong, and some are more bold and
we do
have a lot of information.
I think we should put together like a rumor tracker, because we always forget about the rumors, and then when the show actually comes out, you don't remember what was right, what was wrong. I want to put together a tracker, and we go through the first few episodes. We can be like, wrong. I know that.
Let's put one on the document and copy and paste them all over. But it's exciting because we are on September 1st, they usually do a big thing, and then there's the 25th anniversary and stuff. At one of those points, there is going to be a poster, and then there is going to be a teaser. Like, we are within months reach of that. We could be I think we're 12 months away from the TV show starting, which means we're probably 4 to 6 to 8 months away from huge promotional things being released. So it is kind of exciting, and more of this stuff hopefully does continue to come along.
It's true. I mean, we're not. Yeah, we figure we're 9 months, 8-9 months from a trailer. 6 or 7 months from a teaser, a poster. I think we could get it even sooner. I think we get a poster. Early summer.
Poster, yeah.
I think.
Well, see, and it's silly, but we've all wondered, like, what's the font going to be? What are they going to keep? What are they going to not keep? Anyway,
Yep.
well, thank you guys for joining me on this adventure, and please continue to join us here at HBTV Podcast, your home where we're the only ones doing this, probably breaking down every bit of information here, and we always want to hear from you, chat with people. I've reached out to some people on YouTube who are YouTubing about Harry Potter stuff right now to see if they want to come and chat about it, because it feels like we're in the door early. There's all these YouTubers that are looking towards the UK Universal Park that's going to open in 2030, and a few of them got together and started a podcast. I'm like, we're the Harry Potter nerds. Let's get together. But we're going to keep on rolling, and we're going to keep deep diving into the people, place, and things, and let you know what's important that we want to see in the TV series from those. Did you guys have any final thoughts?
Don't screw it up. And John Lithgow, please don't die.
Please don't die. Please give us a follow at HBTV Pod, where you can find out about every new element that's coming out. We'll always post fun stuff to there as well in between. But for Jamie and Steven, I've been Mitchell. Jaime, send us out.
Peace out, snitches.